Welcome to our Graduate School of Business and Leadership Orientation Day. My name is Michalis Chasomeris. I am an associate professor here at the Graduate School of Business and Leadership. And I welcome you to this blessed morning where we will be spending about an hour and a half together and an introductory orientation to your academic programs here at the Graduate School of Business and Leadership. Now, the business school, as you might well know, was established in 1974, many years before I was born, a few years before I was born. And I've had a long association with the business school. The first MBA student I had the privilege of helping to graduate was in 2002. And then I had the blessing of lecturing economics for management in 2007 on contract. In 2008 onwards, I've been a permanent member of staff here at the Graduate School of Business and Leadership. We've seen many improvements and developments over the years, and I'm sure that this year you will experience on your relative programs a really wonderful and edifying academic program. We have, I am going to share briefly with you an overview of today's orientation program. I will take you through very briefly an overview, and then I'll hand over to our speakers. So hopefully you can see that. So the proceedings will begin with an official welcome address by our interim dean and head of school, Professor Anna Martins. Then we will move on to a talk called Demystifying Postgraduate Research by Professor Krishna Govender, and he is our head of research here at the business school. Then Mr. Athalf Rasool. He is a chemical engineer at Tongard Hewlett Group. He will share with us some inspirational thoughts, and presently he's a second-year MBA student. Then we'll move on to a presentation by Mr. Deshen Naika. He is our school operations manager, and he will be sharing some useful information about student administration and important student information that you would need to be aware of. Then Ms. Shamla Naidu is a senior IT consultant at the Academic Computing, Information Communication Technology Services. She will be sharing useful information about Moodle and Turnitin programs. These are two programs that you will be using on each and every single module that you'll be enrolled for here at the business school. So please pay attention, and you will benefit from the use of those two programs. Then Ms. Nokutula Ndlovu is our subject librarian here at the business school, and she will be sharing with you the range of librarian services that are on offer. And please listen in, because they will be very useful as you progress through your academic program this year. And then Ms. Ishara Maharaj, she is a counseling psychologist and acting manager at the college student support services. Again, she'll be sharing a range of student support services that you may wish to take advantage of. Learning skills, how to cope with stress and other time management skills, as well as a range of other services that will be that may be useful to you during your academic program. And then after our speakers have shared with you useful information, we'll be breaking away into the breakaway groups. And each of these groups, you should see on your screen a list of the academic programs. Please click on the academic program for which you are registered. For example, if it's the MBA program, click on the MBA program, and it will take you away to a breakaway room where there will be a facilitator, a coordinator for that program, who will share with you the overview of that program, some useful writing skills and referencing techniques, etc., and as well as give you other relevant information for the particular program that you're enrolled for. And finally, they will close off with some closing remarks. So without any further delay, I welcome our interim dean and head of school, Professor Anna Martins, to share with you the welcome address. Over to you, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mickey. Good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the Graduate School of Business and Leadership. I wish to congratulate each and every one of you on having secured your postgraduate place. Today is an important day of the year for all of us. It is with enormous delight that I welcome you, our new students. Notwithstanding the route you came to be here, you have made a wise choice in selecting the Graduate School of Business and Leadership as your place to pursue your postgraduate studies. At the GSBNL, we regard the student at the center of everything we do. Your experience here and your success is important to each and every member of staff at the GSBNL. Remember, you should make the most of your time at the graduate school. As postgraduate students, you will master the demands of university learning and will further have the opportunity to deepen your knowledge, while at the same time encountering new bodies of knowledge to which you were not exposed to during your undergraduate studies. I also encourage you to channel the time diligently to refine skills that will enhance your employability. When crafting their programs and curricula, business schools have two primary stakeholders in mind: prospective students and employers. Often, it is the needs of employers that steer the manner in which business schools innovate and change. This is certainly linked to the ambitions of students. The COVID-19 pandemic has enabled the graduate school to embrace digital transformation and with great agility, because our faculty members enable our students to understand the advantages of the multimodal mode of learning brought on by using technology. Our faculty will continue to integrate live, real-time synchronous sessions, as well as offline, asynchronous learning formats. These asynchronous sessions enable students to work at their own pace, to stimulate how you will actually manage and organize your activities in the real business world. Indeed, as a graduate school that we are, faculty and students can further engage during these asynchronous learning sessions as constructive offline discussions build inspiring debates. Additionally, the endemic that has now become after the COVID-19 pandemic has regulated the use of various platforms of video conferencing technology in the virtual classroom. With this, the GSBNL nurtures its sustainable ecosystem model by bringing industry experts to engage directly with students by sharing their real-life workplace experiences. In this way, theory articulates with practice. On this February the 12th day in KwaZulu-Natal, you are pondering about your learning journey ahead with your fellow peers. Many of you may be anxious about how demanding the coming semester will be. This is natural. We are generally concerned with challenges that are close to us. This is normal because we are human beings. However, a university should change this pattern. And as a business school should be a place that stimulates thinking both in time and space. Naturally, this endemic continues to spur the need to nurture specific 21st century competencies and soft skills, such as problem solving, active and experiential work-based learning, personalized learning, a mindset that fosters innovation, creativity, inclusivity, resilience, and agility. With this in mind, and in order to embrace a holistic approach, let us focus on the long-term perspectives, those which a university endorses. We are cognizant that studying entails thinking, reflecting, and connecting things, being attracted and challenged by that which is unknown, uncertain, and distant. To study is to energize and foster curiosity, which is one of the strongest intangible forces of the human mind. Studying means searching for knowledge and asking questions, testing and becoming familiar with the most distant limits of our intellect. With this, we associate the values that the University of KwaZulu-Natal is built on, which are fundamental for our ability to free ourselves from the immediate challenges and to promote research and education that navigate generations and transcend geographical borders. Our values are about respect, excellence, accountability, client orientation, honesty, and trust, all represented in the acronym REACH-T. These are essential values that inspire us to understand both our past and present in order so that we can prepare for the future. Looking forward means taking responsibility. You have all come from different backgrounds and communities to pursue your ambitions as students. Embrace this difference. Get to know people who are different to you in gender, ethnicity, religion. It could be someone from a different part of the country who has different perceptions, interests, and perspectives to you. By embracing difference, you will indeed develop an enhanced understanding, both of yourself and of those who are different to you. To quote the education philosopher, Paul Freire, education is the practice of freedom, the means by which men and women deal critically and creatively with reality and discover how to participate in the transformation of their world. To conclude, I wish each and every one of you every success at the Graduate School of Business and Leadership in the University of KwaZulu-Natal. I'm confident that your learning journey shall be an immensely rewarding experience. And with this, I now welcome Prof. Krishna Govender, the School Head of Doctoral Programs, who will be providing you with an overview of the research in the Graduate School of Business and Leadership. Prof. Krishna Govender, the virtual floor is all yours. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and thank you. Thank you for correcting my responsibility, Dean. Yes, we have a group of students who are embarking on this postgraduate journey, and of course, we have masters and doctoral students. And the title of my presentation was intentionally chosen because somehow it seems that the research component or element of the master's program, the coursework master's program, and of course, it is the only component of the doctoral program, seems to be some kind of an animal. And students are somehow, especially master students over the years, my experience has taught me that they complete all the modules, get distinctions. When it comes to the dissertation or the mini dissertation, they kind of have what is called, a brain freeze or a roadblock situation. So we at the business school are fully cognizant of the challenges that students face when embarking on a journey, on a research journey. Right. So therefore, within this 8 minutes, I'd like to kind of reassure you that, you need to feel comfortable that we will support you. We have all the means, both academically and administratively, to support you on this journey. For the doctoral students, undertaking a doctoral journey is lonesome, lonely, challenging, and of course, you can tell everybody, I'm doing my doctorate, but only you know what you are going through when you are on this journey. So we understand that. My colleagues, Dr. Fano there, with head of research, myself, and the rest of the team, academics in the business school, all supervise postgrad students. We know, we understand, we get into the mind of our students. Therefore, I must share with you some initiatives that we are embarking on this year to support students, to support you. In the case of master students, you will actually complete a master's research methodology module. So you are in a better stead than the doctoral students who may have finished the research methodology module some time ago and need to go on some kind of refresher. to augment what they've learned, to reinforce what they've learned in order to be better equipped to embark on this journey. Right. So we've created what is called the Thesis Lab. The Thesis Lab is an excellent initiative of the Graduate Business School, the School of Business and Leadership, in partnership with colleagues from the college. It introduces you to the fundamentals of research methodology. So all students will be expected to go through the units of study in this particular thesis lab, right? So it breaks up the various stages of research into micro-learning units. And you are able to test yourself, complete these units, and move ahead. So it helps you to develop those skills which you will apply in undertaking your dissertation or your thesis, right? So it's a very, very important source that will be there. Because remember, your supervisors are merely there to guide you on this journey. They would not undertake, intensive courses to train you on research methodology. They will merely guide you. So you need to make sure that you go ahead and either read the various methodology books, or in order to get this fast-tracked understanding of research methodology, you will go to the thesis lab. Each one of you will be given a link through the administrators. In the case of the masters, I think it's Zarina, and in the case of the doctorate, it's Zikona. They will be communicating with you, giving you the link so that you go and independently embark on this journey of teaching yourself on research methodology. So that is a very, very important thing. In the case of the doctoral students, remember, once you've been admitted, right, you will be expected to do your research proposal, right, under guidance of a supervisor. And we find that many students come from wide backgrounds. You have a PhD or a DBA. So you can come from various backgrounds. And some of you may have finished your master's some time ago. So we would ensure that you would have to complete the augmented section of the thesis lab. So what the school has done is that they have, in addition to what service and support is provided by the thesis lab, we are going to provide an augmented research methodology component or module, if you want to call it such, where we delve deeply into to make sure that you understand the research paradigms, the philosophy that underpins your research journey, the ontology, the epistemology, and those kind of things. But don't get worried with all these ologies, right? Once you go through this journey, you will have to complete this under guidance from your supervisor, and at the same time embark on your journey of developing your research proposal, because your proposal has to be passed. You need to pass your research proposal before we allow you to proceed with your thesis. So it's a critical point. In fact, even the master students will also develop the proposals and share that with the supervisor. In the case of the doctoral students, there are various nodes, we call them quality nodes, where you will have to present your proposal to colleagues who will support and guide you to make sure that you hone it and move to the next level of your journey. Right. So, as I said, in 8 minutes, I've tried to give you, in a nutshell, what the research journey is all about. So I want to reassure you that we are there to support you. We will support you throughout the journey because we understand what it entails to undertake research. With that, I'd like to hand over to my colleague. Thank you and good luck once again. And congratulations for being admitted to the business school. You are in good hands.
Thank you, Prof. Krishna and Prof. Nicholas. Good morning to the respected faculty members, school administrative staff, and support personnel of the Graduate School of Business and Leadership. And of course, good morning to you, dear students. My name is Altaf Rasool. I am an alumnus of UKZN School of Chemical Engineering, and currently in my second year of MBA at the GSPL. I'm currently employed, congratulate, in the position of Process Support Engineer at the company's Technical Services Department. The purpose of the department is to provide technical and project support in the areas of science and engineering to our operations across South Africa, as well as the greater SADC region. My decision to pursue postgraduate studies in the area of business and leadership became an obvious one for me. It was clear early in my career that I would work in the business and corporate sector for the foreseeable future. And with intentions of progressing in my career, I realized early on that all roles that I could aspire to required a high level of business understanding and leadership skills that one could not acquire merely from work experience, and hence the MBA became an obvious choice for me. My decision to choose UKZN's GSPL was both a practical and a wise choice. The school's MBA program is internationally recognized. The program is fully accredited by South Africa's Council for Higher Education, and the school academics have a notable presence in the published research space of their respective areas of expertise. Add to this location and the affordability, for me, there really was no beating the UKZN deal. Having completed my first year of MBA, it has been an enriching and insightful experience into the world of business and leadership, to say the least. Metaphorically speaking, it feels like I've been watching a 2D movie my whole professional life, and suddenly everything is in 3D. In simpler terms, there was always this whole other dimension of the dynamics to the way a business function operates that you would mostly be oblivious to unless you have the right knowledge basis. I found boundless use for the knowledge that I've acquired thus far in my MBA. The leadership skills I've acquired have been useful in all aspects of my life, particularly with work. I found benefits in understanding leadership and applying appropriate leadership styles and motivation techniques with both one-on-one interactions as well as within teams. Now, Congratulate has been in the news a lot recently, and as an employee of Congratulate, it is really an interesting case study for so many aspects of business, from leadership to corporate good governance, change management, financial management, corporate finance. It's all happening right now within the company. And the knowledge I've gained through the MBA has allowed me to understand these events, which again, I would otherwise have been completely oblivious to. Also, being part of the larger South African sugar industry, which of course has been in the news recently with the Sugar Master Plan, it too has become an interesting case study for many areas of business, such as supply chain management, strategic marketing, product diversification, sustainability, socioeconomics, and large-scale economics of the international sugar markets. And again, all of this I have insight into now only because of my experience with the MBA. And it is really very, very interesting right now what's happening in this space. From a more practical point in terms of getting through your classes or your courses, online classes have been an interesting experience. It has its pros and cons. It isn't ideal for either student lecturer or student-student interaction, but it is manageable. You'll find you will save a significant amount of time and energy by not having to travel and make your way through to campus, to a class. You'll be able to attend lectures from the convenience of your own home, or wherever you choose to really. You'll also find it much easier to arrange meetings and catch-up sessions online. And my message to you really is embrace online learning, because it looks like that is the direction that many universities are taking. I'm a bit old school. I would still like to have classes in person, but moving with change is always important. If I could give you some advice and insight from my experience, it wouldn't be anything you haven't heard before, but it cannot really be enforced enough. If you have lectures in your coursework, attend lectures. Pay attention, take notes, read ahead if possible, and do not hesitate to ask questions in class. I found that you could get the majority of your learning and especially understanding the subject material in class, and it makes it a lot easier than trying to figure out concepts and ideas on your own outside of class. With any aspect of work that you have, I recommend you start early, work consistently, take any time advantage you get to do more in a day, because inevitably you will encounter unforeseen stumbling blocks. If any task or assignment appears too daunting and laborious, break it down into smaller, more manageable goals, even if it means that you focus on nothing but finishing the next paragraph. That's all that counts, really. With evening lectures, if you do have evening lectures, I found that having a light meal or nutritious snack helps a lot. Staying hydrated as well helps keep concentration, and of course, engaging with the material and with the lecture itself is really a good way of maintaining your concentration levels late into the evening. I would like to leave you with this message that taking on a postgraduate degree is no mean feat. And so you could not have possibly have reached this junction with ideas of being mediocre. And so I urge you to aim high, strive for excellence. Doing your best is not really a practical measure. Aim for something tangible. Aim to pass summa cum laude. And that is all I have for you today. I wish you students well in your studies. I would like to thank the GSPL for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Altaf. We really feel inspired after listening to you and our previous speakers, Prof. Martins and Prof. Krishna Govender. Well, welcome everybody once again. My name is Dashen Naika. I'm the school operations manager, and I have to say, I think we've got off to a very good start this morning. It's been very inspirational from our dean, from Prof. Krishna Govender and Altaf. Well, this morning, I'm going to take you through the role of the academic support in the school. And as you know, academic administration and academic support is critical to you as students getting the best kind of support you need in terms of being able to study undisturbed. I'm actually going to share my screen with you and take you through some of the points that I'd like to share with you this morning. So just bear with me as I do that. So colleagues, just to start again, I would just want to highlight to you the importance of good professional services to you, our students. The contact details of our higher degree staff, which is critical to you being able to contact them and to get support from them. The commencement date of your lectures for the first semester. Some important sessional dates that all of you need to be aware of. We also want to look at assessment and test procedures, especially now that we are operating on an online basis. Some important school guidelines and rules that you should be aware of. Basic communication protocols in the school for student grievance, and looking at your safety and security when you do return to the Graduate School of Business. The role of the admin support team is to support the total learning experience of you, the student. And our attention to this is very important because we find that if there are little queries or things left unanswered in terms of your student administration, it will obviously interfere with your learning experience. So our goal and ambition here at the GSB is to ensure that we make this a fruitful and a total learning experience for you by way of supporting you in your administrative queries. The other issue is that we as administrators and as professional staff in the school want to promote an efficient working environment for your teachers, for your lecturers, for the people who engage with you on a daily basis, and we support them as well. And finally, good admin in the school leads to cultivating a satisfying and productive working experience for our staff themselves, for our professional services staff. I want to just share with you the people who you will be in contact with. For those of you registered for the Master of Business and Administration, our MBA program, your administrator is Zarina Buliraj. Her details appear on the screen. There's no need for any of you to take this down. We will share this PowerPoint presentation for you on our orientation webpage. But if you haven't met Zarina as yet, especially because we are working remotely 50% of the time, Zarina Buliraj, there you have a picture of her, and she is your, as I said, your administrator for the MBA 1. For those students registering for the postgraduate diploma in business admin, And for the PhD and DBA, your administrator is Zakona Majapelo, and her contact details appear there. And if you haven't met Zakona as yet, there's a picture of her. And I'm sure if there's a return to campus anytime this year, then you will get to meet our staff. Those students who are registered for our leadership studies, namely the Master of Commerce Full Research, the Master of Commerce in Leadership Studies coursework, and the Postgraduate Diploma in Leadership, your administrator for these programs is Kanyo Mtetwa. And finally, those of you who are doing our Postgraduate Diploma in Local Economic Development, your administrator is Bongani Shlatsweo. And Bongani has recently joined the school, and Bongani does not just assist or does not just support the Postgraduate Diploma in Local Economic Development, but also he's involved in the dissertation examination process of all programs in the school. And finally, I know that some of you still have applications that are pending, and some of you might have joined us this morning. For your application queries, you can contact Suraksha Harichand. The details appear on the screen. You can email her either at GSB Admissions or Harichand S. This will also be placed on our orientation page. We also have a very important person in the school, the PA to the Dean, Ms. Kiru Naidu. So if at any event you cannot get hold of any one of the administrators or myself, then you could always contact Kiru and she will pass those messages on to us. Colleagues, I want to move on then to commencement of your online classes. The MBA program takes off on Monday, the 14th of February, and the first module on the MBA 1 is the leadership module, which runs from the 14th of Feb to the 3rd of March. The postgraduate diploma in business admin also starts on Monday, the 14th, and runs till the 3rd of March. And your module there is accounting for managers. The Master of Commerce in Leadership Studies begins on the 14th and runs till the 18th of Feb, and you will be doing a research methodology module. The postgraduate diploma in leadership begins with advanced leadership, and this begins on the 21st of February. And for those of you who are in our local economic development program, you begin with integrative LED research project, and that starts on the 7th of March.
14.
The next segment I want to highlight to you are some very important sessional dates, and I think everyone needs to be aware of these, because the last thing we need is when students are not aware of important and critical dates, it could be costly. So the final date for submitting any kind of curriculum change, that means withdrawing from a module or changing your program or changing the modules within your program, is the 25th of February. The final date for minimum fee payment required from students in order to register is also the 25th, and it is also the final date for registration if you have not already registered. The 8th of April is an important date in terms of, now this deals particularly with withdrawal from a module or withdrawal from the university. That means withdrawing from a program and from the university as a whole. This is on the 8th of April as a final date. Students just need to bear in mind when it comes to the withdrawal of modules or withdrawal from the university, there is a sliding scale applicable in terms of costs or charges for the duration that you were registered. So just bear that in mind. I've put up there the final assessment dates. So as you know, all assessments for this current semester are continuous assessments, including your final assessment for your module. Those dates will be discussed in greater detail in the breakaway session by your coordinators. But just for reference, the 31st of May is the final date, or the first semester is the final, is the commencement date of our final assessments. So instead of calling them examinations, all these assessments that are submitted, your final assessment commences in terms of the university dates is the 31st of May. Colleagues, I think another important date for everyone, especially for students who are registered in our school, is the release of exam results. So exam results will be released on the 15th of July at midnight. So I'm quite sure many of you are eager to know the date because you'd love to get your exam results as early as possible. I want to move on to the matter of assessment procedures. And as I said to you, there's been a departure over the last two years because of the pandemic, where we've moved from a sit-down examination situation to continuous assessments. And with this, you have what we call the final assessment, which comprises of the suite of continuous assessments. Here again, I'd just like to emphasize that in your breakaway sessions at the end of this program, your respective program coordinators will explain to you in much more detail how these assessments are arranged and the number of assessments in each particular program. Now, of course, even though we've departed from a sit-down examination situation for the last 2 years under this pandemic, it's just good to point out to you that there still are penalties for disobeying any kind of assessment rules. And the same rules that apply to sit-down examinations will apply here to the submission of final assessments or any sort of assessment for your programs. And obviously, this means that there are certain sanctions, and we want students to be cognizant and aware of this, simply because these are unfortunately situations that can happen, and we'd like people to know that there are some heavy sanctions that could be placed on students who are found guilty of this by university disciplinary court. And I think the most significant one is the last point they have mentioned, exclusion for a minimum of 2 semesters, and you can read the rest as I put it up on the orientation page. Some guidelines for students to remember while you enjoy the semester with us. It's very important that students make a concerted effort to visit the Moodle platform at least twice a day and to check their student emails for any notification, updates, or course information. With that, I'd like to add that we have a UKZN student portal, which is housed with many of the important forms that students might want to use from time to time. For example, if you want to withdraw from a module, or you want to withdraw from the university, or you need an ethical clearance form, all of these forms can be found either on your Moodle platform or your student portal platform. It's important when students communicate with the university, either administrators or lecturers, to always ensure that you use your UKZN email address. The reason for this, and this is actually a university rule, the reason for this is that we get a direct reference of your student number when you use your student email address. And in that way, in terms of communicating back and forth and having a trail, the student email address is critical to our communications in the school and university. Our administrators in the school will not respond to students who email us either using their work or private or work or personal emails. The preference and the only email we'd like to use is our student email accounts. Submission of assignments by way of continuous assessment, these will be submitted electronically only, right? There will be no printing of submissions and handing over hard copies to any of the lecturers or administrators. Late submission of assignments or assessments will obviously incur some sort of penalty. Your lecturers will speak more to you about this, and your program coordinators will probably discuss it in the breakaway session. Your class test or continuous assessment, we know that we are living in difficult times, and this virus or this pandemic is no way over yet. And if for any reason a student had to miss an assessment, there are opportunities for that, for a makeup or an agro assessment or test to be conducted. The point being that you need to notify your lecturer and administrator within a 5-day period. I want to also now just touch on something that's very important, We know that from time to time, students may have certain grievances or whatever they may be, either with the program, with administrators, maybe a lecturer. There are certain protocols that need to be followed here. And what we have for you on the orientation link is the student rule book. And I'm not going to go through the details of that protocol, but we'd ask all students to actually be conversant with the 32 pages in that student rule book. One of them that's very important is the communication protocol and how students need to address grievances either with school or college or university. So you can make reference to that. You're going to probably find an older copy, a 2021 version of this on our orientation link. That's simply because the 22 version has not yet been printed. But I've been told very confidently that the 2022 rulebook has not changed from 2021. The rules are quite almost exactly the same. So you can use that until we update that link for you. Finally, I want to touch on a matter that might become more important to you maybe in 2023, if you're still with us, or maybe in second semester of 2022, depending on university decisions. It's about security and safety. And we know that maybe even now, students might want to consult with either a lecturer for supervision or a student. This can only be done by appointment, firstly, because at the moment, we know that the university is operating on an online basis in terms of our delivery. But if you ever happen to be on campus, and as I said, that's only by appointment, we want people to be safe. So one of the things we always tell our students every year is to recognize and to be conscious of anything risky that you might potentially see on campus. So awareness is very important. Report any suspicious behavior to security personnel who might be on the scene. I've got a point there about avoid walking alone at night. But if ever we return to campus full time, our RMS offers a security guard chaperone service, which means if students want to move from maybe one building to another, they can phone our risk management services and they will send out politely a security guard to assist you with that. I'd just like to move on a little bit here because of time. Finally, in terms of security, I think a very important number that students need to take down is the number that's on the screen now. It's the number for our risk management services. They are open 24 hours a day, and they respond when those phone calls come through. Everybody, this presentation, as I said, will be on our UKZN GSB orientation page. You will find it there. Thank you for giving me your time. And I now hand you over to Mushamla Naidu, who will address you on matters related to Moodle and Turnitin. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here this morning as part of the GSB presentation. I'm Shamla Naidu from Academic Computing, and Academic Computing is part of ICS. This morning, I'm going to talk to you about e-learning at UKZN. And as I mentioned, I am part of ICS, which is Information and Communication Services at UKZN. Okay, so what is UKZN online learning? Many of the speakers this morning did touch a little bit on it, but considering the current situation in South Africa and many other countries around the world, due to the spread of COVID-19, universities are compelled to move to alternative modes of teaching and learning. As an alternative to traditional classroom learning, where you attend classes in person on campus, UKZN has developed an online strategy that will allow all your classroom activities to be conducted over the internet through the Moodle Learning Management System. And the abbreviation for Learning Management System is LMS. You're going to come across that a lot during your studies. Okay, so what is Moodle? When you hear the word Moodle, sounds a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? So what is Moodle? Moodle is a user-friendly learning management system that supports the learning and training needs for a wide range of institutions and organizations across the globe. The word Moodle was originally an acronym for modular, object-oriented dynamic learning environment, which is mostly useful to programmers and education theorists. Moodle is also UKZN's choice of learning management system. So how do you access Moodle? You can access Moodle at, I've displayed the URL, it's learn2022.ukzn.ac.za. Please note that every year the URL changes to the current year. So for example, last year it was called learn2021.ukzn.ac.za. And as you can tell, next year it'll be called learn2023.ukzn.ac.za. The preferred browser is Google Chrome, and it also works nicely on Firefox. So on registering with the University of KwaZulu-Natal and GSB, you would have received a username and password. And that's the username and password you will use to log in to all the systems at UKZN. So we refer to that as single sign-on. Single sign-on means you have one username and one password. And so all the systems at UKZN, you will use those login details to log in. Once you have logged into Moodle, you will automatically have access to the courses you're registered for. This appears on the Moodle dashboard. So for those of you that are registered, I would encourage you maybe later on this afternoon or before Monday, is to go online and access the system. Okay, so what will be available on Moodle? Okay, so all course materials for your module are available in different forms. So Moodle allows for different file formats, which is PDF, PowerPoint, video recording, podcasts, etc. Discussion forums to engage asynchronously with your lecturer and peers. Course assignments in different forms, short quizzes, time-based quizzes, research papers, etc. Your course announcements, which will serve as your notice board to view important notices. What is expected of you in the use of Moodle? Familiarize yourself with the tools you need to participate in your module online. Make sure that you read all course materials posted on Moodle. Read all course instructions carefully and ask questions when not clear. Participate in activities created on Moodle. Submit your assignments on Moodle unless otherwise instructed by your lecturer. Dashen did mention that all assignments now are posted electronically. So all that is done on Moodle. Check your course announcements from time to time because that's the tool your the lecturers would use to communicate with you. So it's very important to check course announcements, and the administrative staff would use course announcements in Moodle to communicate. Should you need help with using the learning management system, use the available help guide on the UKZN Moodle site. Okay, that's all about Moodle, and you can go and there is a lot of content on the Moodle website that you can read through. And during your time at UKZN, as you work with Moodle, you will get more familiar with it. I'm just going to quickly run through Turnitin. And so what is Turnitin? Turnitin is UKZN's chosen similarity detection software and may be found at www.turnitin.com. What does Turnitin do? It searches for similarities between work submitted by the students in various online resources. And those resources are journals, libraries, student papers, and various other publications. Requirements from you as a student. Only register using your student UKZN student email address. Ensure you do not submit your assignments to any other institutions' Turnitin account. Use only the class created by your lecturer for a specific module. And the similarity report should be discussed with your supervisor lecturer should you have any queries. And then there's another important tool that we introduced during the beginning of COVID, which is Grammarly. And so I'm just going to quickly talk to you about Grammarly, which is a very, very important tool to use during your postgrad studies. and especially if you're going to be engaging in master's and PhD dissertations. Grammarly's writing app makes sure everything you type is easy to read, effective, and mistake-free. Grammarly automatically detects grammar, spelling, punctuation, word choice, and style mistakes in your writing. In addition, Grammarly is able to check the tone of your correspondence, provide synonym suggestions to make your text more readable and precise, and even check your documents for plagiarism. With Grammarly, you can rest assured that your writing is always held to the highest standard. And I think that's the expectation of the academics at GSB. You can use Grammarly for improved writing techniques, and I've put the URL there. And then any queries pertaining to Moodle, Grammarly, and Turnitin, you can send an email to learn@ukzn.ac.za, and then we will kindly respond to you. I would like to conclude by wishing you all the best in your studies. And you've made the best choice by choosing GSB UKZN. So all the very best.
Thank you, Shamla. Over to you, Noktula, to share with us about the library services. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, colleagues. My name is Noktula Ndlovu, and I am your subject librarian. So today I am going to share with you our library, UKZN library, and our services as the library. Just gonna go straight to my presentation. Okay, there we go. Okay, so today, colleagues, I'm not going alone. I am with Ms. Minenhle Jali, who's also a fellow subject librarian, my colleague. She is in this meeting as well, just standing by. So welcome to the library. The library is your partner in research, it is your partner in your academic career here at UKZN. So do not, I would just like to encourage you firsthand that, you know, in order for you to be successful in your academic career, make sure that you make use of the services of the library. Okay. All right, so when it comes to our libraries, I would just like to start off and tell you that UKZN main libraries are, you know, are located physically in all 5 of our campuses. So we have the Westville main library, we have the Cecil Reynolds Library, which is based in Pietermaritzburg. We also have the Nelson Mandela School of Medicine Library, which is based at the medical school. We have E.G. Malhabe Library, which is based at Howard College. And lastly, we have Edmondson Library, which is at Edgewood campus in Pinetown. Now, the reason why I wanted to mention this is that some of our, you know, of our material may not be available in your current campus, which is Westville Library. Or maybe you borrowed a book, a physical book at Westville Library, but you stay in Pinetown and Edmondson Library is closer to you. You are able as a U student, UKZN student, to go to Edmondson Library and return your book there. And we do the transfer of books ourselves in-house. Okay, so the library is there to support the teaching. There is our academics. We are there to support our academics throughout. We're also there to support the learning in the UKZN, and that includes our students. The learning part includes our students. We help them with, you know, your assignment writing. We also help you in terms of finding information, how to find information, how to access your information online, and so forth. We do have in-depth library trainings, and we advertise them on our website, and also on the emails, the UKZN emails that are always published. And lastly, we are there to support research, which is really the flagship of our institution, the research. So we're there to support our master's students, our PhD, our postdoctoral students from the start until the end of your research project. So make friends with your subject librarian, which is myself, and also my colleague, Minenhle, will also be assisting you this year as well. Okay, colleagues, when it comes to the library is available online. Okay, so it is accessible online, and whilst we're still offering our all our modules and our services online, the library is also available online. To get into the library, you go to the main UKZN website, and once you get there, you look for the word library. It's hyperlinked. You click there, and it takes you to this very page of the library. What you can get from our library is we have books that are e-books, we have e-journals, we have all sort of e-resources that are available there, that you can access at the comfort of your own home, even if you're at work. We also offer a virtual individual service in terms of, if you want to engage with our subject librarians, we do offer that as well virtually. We can arrange a Zoom meeting with you. You can email us, and then we can offer that service to you. Okay, so coming to the borrowing privileges. This is for our print materials. We do have books that are still in print form in our libraries. And as you can see, my list there, the permanent staff of UKZN are able to take 30 books for a period of 90 days, that is 3 months. We also have staff that might be employed on fixed term employment. They still get the same privileges. We have students that are undergraduate, that is your first, second, and third year students. They are able to borrow 6 books within the period of 14 days. We have our honor students, that's the number that they are able to take the books, and in the period of 21 days. PhD and master students are able to take books that are 20 books, 20 materials in the period of 42 days. And we also have visitors, subscribers, as well as academic visitors. We also have borrowing privileges for those. Okay, so coming to the facilities inside our libraries, colleagues and students, we have what we call multimedia classrooms, which we also call training rooms. These are more like your computer labs. We have computers that are available in our physical libraries. They are available for you to do your assignments. They are an option for you to use in case, for example, you are not wanting to go to the actual computer lab that is provided by the university. We also have a computer lab there. We also use these rooms for trainings physically. When the students are all back, we'll be hosting trainings on how to use the library and so forth. We have sitting study rooms as well that are available inside of our libraries. We have something that we call a research commons that is available for our PhD, our master students, also our academics, if they want to use this beautiful facility that is available just exclusively for them. And also what you find in our libraries, we have things that are called, photocopiers that you can access using your student card, and you have to load in your the monies there. We have printing facilities, scanning facilities, and all that great stuff is available inside of our buildings. Okay, so when you need, this is very important, when you need to connect to our online library, it's very important for you to use a global protect. It is something that is offered by our ICS department, and we have partnered with our ICS department as the library, and you have to make sure that you download this and make sure it's available. There's another way also that you can log in. It's called an off-campus access. So maybe you've forgotten to log in or to turn on your global protect, then it will take you to this page when you want to access maybe an article, for example. Then you have to put in your student number here, as well as your password that you get from ICS. And I've also included the ICS UKZN website, as well as contact details there if you're meeting any problems in accessing all our e-resources. We have those contact details that are available there, all the links that are available. And also please go to our self-help videos. Okay, lastly, I would like to mention that please attend our online library trainings to find out more about the sessions. You have to go to the library webpage, and also UKZN notices available on our emails. Thank you so much. What I lastly want to mention is that I am leaving the university. I have found a job in another institution at Western Cape, but in the interim, Miss Minenhle is going to be taking care of you. Thank you so much, and good luck to your studies this year.
Thank you, Nokuthula. Thank you so much for sharing that valuable information with our students, and for providing such a valuable service to us over these many years that you've been our subject librarian. So thank you, and may the Lord bless you. And I hope that you will enjoy your new place of employment, that you'll be blessed there and be the blessing that God's called you to be. So thank you again for your wonderful services. Thank you. And for being a good friend. Lovely. So, and we look forward to working with the new colleague. So thank you for lining her up, and thank you for your services too. Now we have Ms. Ishara Maharaj from Student Counseling, and she will be sharing with us briefly. So thank you, Ishara, over to you.
Thank you so much, Program Director, and good day to Prof. Martins, Prof. Govender, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, students. Congratulations on embarking on your studies with the Graduate School of Business and Leadership. I'm sure that you are already all feeling quite reassured, hearing all of the academic support that the school has provided. And it is indeed a remarkable support that you are being provided with, and I'm hoping that you are going to be accessing that in your journey towards the achievement of your graduate studies. So much has been said about the academic journey, and remember that you are also negotiating life amidst all of these extra responsibilities and priorities that you've undertaken. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about the context where you are finding or might find yourself in, and how we as student support services might be able to support you through this negotiation of life as you traverse your studies and work, of course, because some of you have work commitments. So as Prof. Martins has already identified, we are moving from our global pandemic into endemicity of COVID-19, but the challenges and the disruption and the uncertainty has still marked our lives. And I think that we all are still reeling from the experiences of lockdown, social distancing, and masking, and having to continue with these practices just to ensure our health and well-being. So we are also living amidst numerous crises within a crisis, so to speak. So we have the unemployment crisis. I don't think we've ever experienced this rate of unemployment as we are experiencing right now. The economic decline, and there are also more experiences of gender-based violence. And what has happened is that we tend to, when we're going through a crisis, to respond in survival mode. And this, of course, has repercussions for our mental health. So undoubtedly, you would have been touched by stress, anxiety, grief. Some of us may have lost dear ones during this difficult time, isolation, a sense of disconnection, sadness, and all of these are really very normal experiences to a very abnormal context or situation. So through all of that, you are now transitioning to university and a kind of different sense of normality, which is now presented in the form of continued remote teaching and learning. And it's already been mentioned that, yes, there are challenges to remote teaching and learning, but there are also advantages to it. And amidst all of that, you also have the priorities of life, your roles and responsibilities in your jobs, your roles and responsibilities as parents, as partners, as children to parents. And you're wearing these different hats and all of it. And just to give you a sense of perspective, there's this wonderful tool called the Wheel of Life, which identifies the multidimensionality of life. All of these wonderful things that we need to be focusing energy, directing energy into, spirituality, health, family, friends, love and romance. Remember, it's Valentine's Day on Monday. And remember, the relationship with yourself is very important to allow you to have the healthy relationships with others. So ensure that you are celebrating that relationship with yourself as well. And then amidst all of that, you have your career, your work commitments, and your studies, which gives you a sense of purpose, a sense of success, growth, and achievement. And what has originally been put forward is that we need to strive for balance. But I'm not sure about you, but it left me feeling a great sense of guilt, thinking that, oh my, I haven't spent sufficient time with my family. I've been spending too much of time with work or with studies and so on. And so think about what the pandemic did to all of us. It thrust us all into a melting pot of our homes where we've had to integrate work, studies, family, religion, all of these aspects, leaving us actually quite in a state of trying to find out now, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to do this? It was quite a challenge, wasn't it? And so the proposition is really to shift slightly away from this so-called work-life balance. And you can see what I've done. I've said life, work, study integration. And what we're really looking for is a sense that we are being true to ourselves. So what makes your personal life, your career, your studies meaningful to you? And this requires reflection, really honest reflection on who you are. What is important to you? What matters to you? What are your core values? What are some of your personal missions that you want to accomplish? and to be able to integrate these into your life, your career, and your studies. So this is a very unique recipe based on what matters to you, and of course, the season of life that you're in. So not comparing it to anyone else, not comparing it to anything else, but really being able to identify what matters to you. So what is the next step then? How can we strive towards the sense of life, work, study integration? So how about adding more life into your work and studies? So what tends to happen is we identify that this is time for studying, this is time for work, and we segregate them, and it becomes a drudgery. And that's what then begins to impact on mental health, and we feel exhausted or burnt out. So how about considering sprinkling some of that fun, the self-care, the family into your work and studies? Finding time to take that walk after completing a task and moving on to the next one, finding time to make the connection with a colleague or a peer, possibly think about the peers in your class. Now, studies have shown that taking regular breaks are not just helpful for health and well-being, but also for performance and productivity. So think about reading a 10-page journal article when you're exhausted. And think about reading that same journal article when you're feeling energized and excited. And you'll note what happens. You have more focus. You're able to really absorb the different points in the article, and you're able to apply that knowledge. So how can you link your work and your studies to your health and well-being? Think about establishing flexible work or study schedules. And finally, developing resilience. And I'm going to just touch on it. So resilience is very much about a mindset. How are you perceiving your difficulties? Remember that difficulties are challenges. They are lessons to be learned from, to be able to grow and develop. They are opportunities for growth. And if you've identified your missions, your goals, then commit to them. Commit to them 100%. In other words, let me ask a very important question. What is your compelling reason to get you out of bed every day? And if you don't have one, it is so important to find it. Find it in life, find it in what gives you vibrancy and energy. And finally, focus on the situations and events that you have control over. Because during these times, there's a lot that we don't have control over. And one of the key issues is we don't have control over people. We often think that we do, but we don't. So consider clearly what you have control over. And quickly, just to look at some of the dimensions or the domains of resilience. So we've spoken about vision. I think some of the previous speakers spoke about collaboration. Create your networks of support. They may start with family, having these discussions or sometimes difficult discussions with partners to ensure that you are both clear about what this might entail for the both of you and for your relationship, for your parenting roles and responsibilities. I think it was Altaf who spoke about the importance of health, taking care of your health, importance of nutrition, sleep, and exercise, and we underestimate that. Remember that you are your most important resource in this journey. So you need to take care of yourself through all of this. And one of the others that I want to quickly mention is composure, being able to regulate your emotions. There's a lovely word called equanimity. And it simply means being able to be calm and composed, particularly during difficult times. Because what that does is that it allows you to then respond in alignment with those values and those missions that you have become aware of. And that's going to lead me to the fact that when you're finding that you are behaving in a way that is not in alignment to who you are as a person, or you're finding that you are feeling resistant towards your studies or resistant towards work, then you need to ensure that you access support. So that is where we come in, and we are a team of psychologists, a career development officer, and an administrator. We're based on the different campuses. Westville campus, we have Ms. Kubeka and Ms. Kanile. The Pietermaritzburg campus, Ms. Mandlana and Dr. Sennett Friedman. The Howard College campus, Ms. Pillay and Ms. Sharnik. And our career development officer is Ms. Yanga Lufundo. So the psychologists are all registered psychologists and all conform to the HPCSA, the Health Professions Council, ethics, and basically all of the rules and regulations of the HPCSA. So these are the services that we provide. So counseling and psychotherapy are basically about providing you with a safe space to explore those values, those missions, being able to identify those goals and being able to identify some of those obstacles that occur in one's life as you traverse. Psychotherapy goes a bit of a step further. Remember that as human beings, we all have encountered traumatic experiences in life, and they might emanate from different parts of your life, but particularly based in the past. And as a result of these traumatic experiences, we develop behaviors, attitudes, thoughts that are then in line with survival in those particular traumatic experiences. And if we don't process those traumas, we bring that into our present life. And remember, this present life is about allowing yourself to flourish, to find the best version of yourself. So what we're doing is we don't process trauma, we're bringing those behavioral patterns that don't really serve us well into this present time. Remember that these services are free and confidential, so take full advantage of them. We also offer skills workshops, and particularly for the graduate school of the GSBNL, we want to ensure that we are able to fulfill some of the challenges that you are experiencing. So to be able to facilitate workshops such as conflict management, anything that you find that you might be experiencing during the course of your studies. Our career development officer also provides weekly workshops on CV writing, interviews, interview skills, and so on. And she's also responsible for graduate recruitment. And I think this is really worth a mention, because this is the invitation of companies into our university to ensure that there is the interface between you, the student, and those external companies, which provide you with better job opportunities. She prepares or organizes the Accounting and Law Professions Day and the Career Exhibition, and I do hope that you all attend that. I'm going to leave you with our final slide, and that is our information. So we do have a website, CLMS Student Support Services, and you can access multiple resources on anxiety, stress management, time management, and so on. We have a toll-free line, and we also have an online booking system. So when you go onto the website, all you do is click onto the online booking button, and you can then ensure that you're organizing or arranging an appointment with one of the student counselors, or the career development officer. Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you, Ishara. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sure the students will benefit from the range of service that your division has to offer us. So thank you. All right. Please, now we move into the breakaway sessions in just a moment, but all of these presentations and the other useful information, like your course outlines and overviews and timetables, they should be available there through the Graduate School of Business and Leadership. Go to our homepage and you will see Orientation 2022. So if you missed anything today, please go to our homepage and look for Orientation 2022, and you'll be able to find useful resources that will help you this year as you continue your academic journey. So it's been a blessing to be with you, and I look forward to meeting you either online or even hopefully in person in the near future. Look forward to this year with hope. Bye-bye.